Okay, so I made sure to move the whatever they're called, the vents, you could say, because I noticed in the last video, so you got my water here, we're all taken care of today. My last video, I think one of the mic or the vents was aiming right at the mic, and it sounded like just a deep bass in the back. Anyways, let's talk about this lift. So today is quads and hamstrings. Now the reason I say quads and hamstrings, not just legs, is because, you know, I finish off every leg workout with a few sets of obliteration on the calves, of course. You know, some would say borderline decimation, but I don't know. You gotta throw the calves in there, man. You can't just, you know, if you're serious about having a good physique, like, you can't just not train a certain muscle group. You can't just if you see people who don't train their calves, it just looks like just straight. There's no like muscularity. If you look at people who don't train like their core, it just, their physique is horrible because it makes their lower pec just look weird, like it just kind of goes into nothing, and then there's just this big empty space of like just flatness, and it's like there's no, you know, there just makes the physique look horrible. Like you have to be well-rounded, you know, not just like you look like thick and heavy. You want to like be well-rounded when your shirt's off and stuff. But anyways, the reason I say hamstrings and quads is because we're about to get into some scientific stuff here in a second, but hamstrings or quads is because obviously your legs, you got your hamstrings, you got your quads, you got your calves. I always forget what the shin muscle is called. You got your shins, you got your adductors, your abductors, you got your glutes, the very, very bottom part of your spinal erectors, and so forth. So with that being said, there's so many muscle groups. A lot of them are worked as stabilizers. So when you're hitting, like, let's say a heavy leg press, you know, you got to respect a leg day. You know, usually on leg days, when like right now I'm driving to the gym, I'm like a little bit nervous, you know, like I'm not like ecstatic like I would be for, let's say, an arm day, but at the same time I am a little bit nervous because, you know, I know that the intensity is going to be high. I already slammed the pre at 150, so 9 minutes ago. I got my water here. So yeah, leg day is going to be intense. So all I'm saying is, like, when you're doing like heavy leg press, for example, your calves are getting there, stabilizing a little bit. You get a little bit of a calf pump. Your adductors and abductors, let's say the inner and outer part of your hips, they're getting some obvious work. Your glutes are getting obvious work. But I'm targeting my quads and my hamstrings, right? I don't just have like a glute day, right? Usually girls, like when you go to and it's not a crazy thought. Like when you train a muscle directly, that's how it gets bigger, right? Guys don't typically, even at the IFBB level, they usually are training their glutes, kind of like Kai Green's a good example. He does a lot of stair stepper, and he talks about how while he's using the stair stepper, he talks about how every time he's using the stair stepper, he's really focusing on that glute activation, like every step. I don't even like that. I get backwards because it feels cooler because of the air. But like Kai Green talks about, you know, he's really focusing on squeezing the glute every single step of the stair stepper. If you guys know Kai Green, he's a legendary bodybuilder, back like in the Phil Heath era, not that many years ago, but you know, he's still a legend to this day. But he has insane legs. You know, his glutes, he trains, you know, basically using the stair stepper, right? But girls, like in the gym, typically girls, like, that's why if you want to see girls with the biggest butts, you typically go to the gym, because when a girl's at the gym, they're training their glutes directly, right? Guys at the gym, if you want to see guys with big pecs, you go to the gym, because typically guys at the gym are training their chest directly, or big biceps, you go to the gym. You know, if I want to go see a guy with fucking big arms, not that I want to, but if I would, I'm not going to go to the fucking grocery store. I'm going to go to the gym, right? So girls usually have, the girls with the biggest butts usually are at the gym because they're training their glutes directly. Guys, you know, it's that same logic. So train what you want to grow, train it directly. Now, when it comes to training, right, if you want to isolate your hamstrings, you can do all that sorts of stuff. But when it comes to training, there's 3 types of shakes. Or I'll refer to them as shakes, but I guess you could say drinks. Anyways, you have your, let's take the hat off. You have your your intra, and your post. So you have a pre-workout, which is typically a stimulated, you know, a stimulated focus-based drink. When I say stimulated, usually caffeine or like ashwagandha. Or when I say focus-based, I'm talking the supplements like L-citrulline malate, arginine, and beta-alanine, right? Citrulline Actually, specifically, I think it's AGC 10, which is in like the Goat's energy drinks, is like a mind stimulator. It helps with your focus. We talked about citrulline a little bit, I think, possibly in my last video, I can't remember. But citrulline helps widen the blood vessels. So when your blood vessels are wider, it allows more nutrients to flow through the blood, so you get the bloodstream, you get a better pump, right? So citrulline, beta-alanine gives you those tingles, you get that energy, you get that focus, you get that endurance. And then obviously you want your amino acids. So your intra-workout's what you're drinking during your workout, and then you have your post-workout, which is typically a protein or a carb. So we're gonna break down, for those of you who like follow Sam Sulik or like Hostile Nutrition, they're an up-and-coming bigger supplement store. They're kind of had made this product famous, but it's called cluster dextrin. Now we're gonna get into the scientific part of it. So dextrins are a form of carbohydrate. I can't see how my hair looks because like the recording time thing is in the way, so it doesn't matter. It's just, it looks good. I just got my haircut yesterday. But dextrins, D-E-X-T-R-I-N-S, dextrins are carbohydrate. Okay, sorry about that. I have to turn the air conditioning back on. This is how hot it is in Florida. My phone overheated in like the fucking 4 minutes that I was just talking, because it's like technically in the sun and the glass is sort of magnifying the sun rays. Anyways, so you're gonna have a little bit of the air conditioning noise. I apologize. Again, that'll be solved in a day or two when I get my Rode mic. So for now, just fucking deal with it. Anyways, dextrins, okay? Dextrins are a form of complex carbohydrates that are derived from starch. It's kind of too loud now even for me. That are derived from starch. So dextrins, carbohydrates, right, they're stored in your body as glycogen, which is energy. So just literally think carbohydrates equals energy. If you go have a cup of rice and a brownie, right, before the gym, and wait 45 minutes, go to the gym, you're gonna have an insane pump because you're gonna be filled with glycogen. So your intramuscular glycogen will be elevated, and then by taking like something like citrulline malate or L-citrulline, it's gonna widen the blood vessels to better push the nutrients in the body. So there's a scientific term you might have heard, like when somebody says, how well does that supplement assimilate? Assimilation is your body's ability, like the speed in which your body can absorb nutrients. So assimilation is a very, very important metric when it comes to, I'm going to the gym now, so we're about to cut this off here. It'll be a shorter one, luckily. Assimilation is your body's ability to absorb nutrients. So in order to increase nutrients, so if you want an insane pump in recovery, you're gonna need what? You're gonna need a carbohydrate or glycogen to be restored in your body in a very fast way. The fastest way to do that is by getting something that digests quickly and that can move through your body quickly. So something that digests quickly would be like a dextrin, which is a starch-based carbohydrate that can be digested quickly and move throughout your body faster because of widened blood vessels, because of the citrulline malate, right? This is called citrulline. Now there's a more, it's considered the gold standard. There's a newer supplement called, it's like the technical term is HBCD, which is highly branched cyclic dextrin, which has been patented now as cluster dextrin. So cluster dextrin is the patent version of HBCD, which again is highly branched cyclic dextrin, which is a fast digesting carbohydrate. That's a complex carb that has fast digestion, fast assimilation, and it's just gonna help you stay energized, and it helps with digestion, which is the biggest thing. So when your body starts to lose glucose, your digestion slows down. So it needs something that can keep your digestion up, because basically when your body's depleted, it has nothing to digest, right? So long story short here, when you're taking something like a cluster dextrin shake or any sort of fast digesting carbohydrate, what that allows you to do is not only train harder, but it allows you to train longer. So something like some sort of dextrin, doesn't have to be cluster dextrin, any sort of dextrin shake or intra-workout carbohydrate that's usually typically faster digesting is really going to help with your guys' training. So get a little scientific on you there. Anyways, yeah, we're going to go blast quads and hamstrings, and we'll do my typical leg days are quads and hamstrings, and then I will blast usually calves at the end. I hit calves usually at the end of my workouts for my leg day. I don't like to do it in the beginning, but keep in mind I'm doing a push-pull leg rest, so I'm hitting every muscle group twice a week. On my leg days, I focus on quads and hamstrings, of course, And then usually once a week, twice a week maybe, I'll do my adductors and abductors, which is basically where you sit in those machines where you spread your legs out and the resistance is here, and then when you're closing your legs and the resistance is here. So you're trying to close it, you really can build up those hips, helps with mobility, flexibility, and just overall strength. But obviously, nothing completes a leg day like some nasty striations, you know, feathers, which is that feathering look, which I might throw in this video if I can get a good angle of my quads. Then a nasty pump and some hamstrings. Now, my favorite movements for legs, by far, are going to be the seated leg press. I don't like to do squats too much. Maybe once a month I'll do heavy squats. And then my favorite movement for hamstrings, it's a fucking curling motion, right? You can't train hamstrings without extending your leg and then closing it. So whether that's seated hamstring curls, standing hamstring curls, laying hamstring curls, unilateral, you can do pause reps, you can do heavy, you can do slow, heavy weight for lower reps, lower weight for higher reps. You can do pause reps where you squeeze at the top. You can do, unilateral, like I said, which is one leg at a time. You can superset, you can do drop sets, you can do a lot of variation. But yeah, let's go get this fucking leg day started. Okay, so let's move this chair out of the way. For me, I just did my stretching. I want to show you guys just some of the basic stretches I do. Really, before I do like a leg day, I'm going to focus on, of course, stretching the hamstrings is my primary focus, the quads, but I really want to get those hips opened up. Once my hips are opened up, I don't spend too long stretching, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to go do some warm-ups. So we'll do real lightweight, 1 or 2. My phone keeps overheating. But 1 or 2 1 or 2 warm-up sets for hamstrings, just lightweight, 5, 10 reps to get them heated up, a little warm, get that blood flow in there, like I mentioned. 1 or 2 sets of quad extensions. Maybe do a couple just standing calf raises. But yeah, in terms of my stretching, I'm really just trying to get the hips opened up like this. I'm putting my legs close together. I'm letting my body do a dead hang, because by doing a dead hang, you guys are about to get a good angle here. By doing a dead hang like this, you're gonna really get the hamstring tie-in right there to your glutes, which is a lot of times where people get the injuries. So we're gonna warm up the hamstrings, of course. I'm gonna stretch that a lot. And then I'll do some sides to sides like this, get that interior part of my hips opened up. Once I do that for a few minutes, obviously get the quad stretched, open up your back a little bit, get those shoulders opened up, so when you're doing squats and behind the back movements, your shoulders can be nice and warmed up. But yeah, other than that, the echo will be fixed when I get my Rode mic, but not sure how many workouts I'm gonna record, because I'm literally just gonna fucking blast extensions, curls, and calves. So we'll see if I record anything. So with these quad extensions, then I'm doing single leg. I'm about to do double now. But when you're doing single leg, try to keep your leg about right there in the middle, so you have the most amount of padding, so you can just really emphasize the squeeze of that quad. So about to do double legs now for my last set, and we're gonna throw around the whole stack. So for this last set, I dropped it to half a stack. I'm just gonna focus on this being a squeezing movement and really just try to burn out the quads. I don't remember what set I'm at, and my pump is too good to go back and watch the clips. So this last set, I'm just gonna squeeze at the top and send my quads to hell. Yeah. Let's move on to hamstrings. So it's time to obliterate hamstrings now. The key to the hamstring curls is the further down that the bar is on your heels, the further down closer to your heel it is, the more of the bottom part of your hamstring you're gonna work. The closer it is to like your calf, the more of the upper part you're gonna work. Meaning like this. Here versus here. So it's basically all about resistance and the way that you have the weight balanced out. So I don't have the ability quite yet to do the full stack on here. I'm close, 160 pounds. Let's burn this out as many as we can get. I know you guys are out there trying to badger me about my range of motion, but now that the heavy stuff's done, we're gonna focus on hypertrophy and squeeze. I did that because my right hamstring is lacking. Okay, I'm gonna try to fast forward this part so you guys don't have to watch, but just finished hamstrings, haven't even given myself time yet. Let's see if I can clear this off a bit. Haven't even given myself time to cool down. I'm gonna go right into these one set of walking lunges all the way there and back, just to really burn out the legs, get some glute activation, squeeze those quads. And then we'll get into the gym or get in the car. We'll talk about the lift. My legs are fucking sore, so bear with me. as pleased as I am to say it, quads and hamstrings are done. All right, so I gotta take the fucking hat off. Maybe the AC up a bit. So we'll try to talk about this lift in a few minutes. I'm actually, if you guys remember how cocky I was on the way to the gym about not forgetting anything, being on my game today, well, where's my post-workout shake? I don't have it. So we're gonna actually go over to Dunkin' Donuts. Keep in mind, this series right now is before the cut, so I'm not tracking on that level yet. But I'm gonna get a chorizo and egg wrap just to get a little bit of fat in me, but mainly I want to get some protein and some carbohydrates in me in the little wrap that they give you. So anyways, that was an intense leg day. I'm sorry for the lack of variability with the angles. I mean, when you're doing leg extensions and hamstring curls, you know, how many different angles can you get? Right? So in the beginning, I told you guys I was going to start with hamstrings. When I got down to do those warm-up sets for quad extensions, something just felt right, and I'm a firm believer that if it feels right, just do it. So it felt good. My quads were engaging nicely. I was activating the shit out of them. I felt such a deep squeeze at the top. I felt all my muscle fibers engaged. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start off here. So I did, I can't remember exactly every set I record, obviously, because I'm there for, you know, quite some time, about an hour for legs, which, you know, for hamstrings and quads, that's enough time for me. And then I finish off with that lunges all the way there and back to really just burn out the quad. As you can tell by those last couple steps, I'm starting to look like I have a sort of a disability. But not that there's anything wrong with disabilities, but I still start to look like I had one, right? Anyways, so yeah, I started off, I was doing single legs with, I would say 70% of the stack with one leg at a time. The reason I sometimes favor my right leg, my right quad and my right hamstring are not significantly, but slightly less developed and strong with my left. Those little muscle imbalances, you know, that's just me being picky. But you know, for example, like my left bicep, let's think. My left tricep looks better than my right tricep, slightly towards that long head, but my right tricep is stronger, okay? My left bicep gets more striated and lean, but my right bicep is stronger. My left quad is stronger and bigger. My left hamstring is stronger and bigger than my right. So like those little things you'll start to notice, you know, maybe your first couple years, don't worry too much about muscle imbalances, but a good way to avoid ever getting them is to do like unilateral training, meaning like you're isolating one at a time. If you're using rows, use the machines where both arms move independently. Cable curls, maybe stay away from those. Maybe do dumbbells. Dumbbell bench, especially when you're doing a flat barbell bench, no matter how much you think you're perfectly even, one side is it's just little tweaks you can make. So if you have those sorts of problems, I would definitely recommend a variety in terms of, you know, more isometric, isolation, unilateral, one arm at a time type of shit. You know, with leg extensions, of course, there's certain movements that you can't do that with, like for example, squatting, like a traditional barbell squat. And I can't even see around this guy. Like a traditional barbell squat, of course, you can only do 2 legs at a time, but you can do isolated squats in terms of you can do standing lunges. You can do, you know, where you put your foot on the bench. I'm trying to explain to you guys. You put your foot on the bench and just squatting one leg at a time. You can focus on walking lunges. You can do leg press one leg at a time. You can do leg extensions one leg at a time. So you can focus on one leg at a time. Your heavier compounds, of course, require usually both extremities to be utilized simultaneously. But for the most part, you can correct those muscle imbalances if you have any. And if you want to prevent them, then just, you know, maybe do half isolation, unilateral and then half compound or two at once. So then after the heavy leg extensions, I mean, that was quads. Went over to hamstrings. After I did the unilateral, I guess you can see there I burned out with the whole entire stack for leg extensions. Now my hamstrings aren't quite as strong as my quads. You guys will, get used to this. The further you get into training, I'm trying to like lean back here, and I am fucking parched. Recovery 101 is water. Help prevent cramping, all that sort of stuff, and stretching. My freaking legs just inflamed. I can feel the burn throughout my whole leg, both my legs. I didn't do any isolation today for calves. I just felt they got a little bit of a pump when I was, just squeezing and doing my lunges. I just didn't feel the need to really do any extra. And sometimes that's just how it is. But after that, I did, the 2 legs at once, full fucking stack, as many reps as I could. And then I dropped and really focused on the squeeze at the end. You can see I was in pain. I was burning there fucking hard. That pain is so excruciating, but it feels so good. Then I went over to hamstrings. I just simply swapped the camera because they're right next to each other, the 2 machines. So I spent about, 90% of my time in the gym in about 3 to 5 square foot radius because I went from the leg extensions to hamstring curls. Did some isolation in the beginning, 1 at a time. Then I did almost the whole stack. I think 200 is the whole stack. I think I did 160 for 6 to 8 reps. And then I burned out at the end, as you can see. And then that very last set, you can see after I burned out my hamstrings, I dropped it to like 20 pounds and just focused on my right. I did an extra couple reps, about 6-7 reps with my right leg to really kind of correct those muscle imbalances. And those are things that you don't really need to focus on unless you're like, I'm not sitting here saying I'm Mr. Olympia, I'm this advanced person who knows everything. But the more advanced you get in lifting and the more developed and mature your muscles are, as you can see here, I'm obviously not lean yet, and I think that these videos will gather more attention the leaner I get, the crazier the veins get, the striations, because that sort of stuff impresses people. It takes like a true lifter, a true like bodybuilder who like really loves and has a passion for the sport to recognize just somebody with mass. When I go in the gym, the dudes that I can do, like, man, that dude got to be like 260, just freaking muscle packed on. He doesn't have any abs or veins yet, or he has maybe some underlying ones, like you can kind of see on my arms, and you can see like the size, but usually, being lean is what attracts that attention. So I think the further I get into this cut, the more impressive and the more views these videos may obtain. But again, my goal here is just to spread as much knowledge as I can about the gym. So yeah, really just honestly not even much to talk about with that lift. Just, I spammed leg extensions, and then I went hard as you could, probably imagine. I hate to say it, maybe I could have done a set or two at the end of some leg press. Although my quads feel great, they don't quite feel decimated. I don't think they're quite at the point of, just straight annihilation. There's still some, I think I left a little bit in the tank with my quads. Hamstrings, on the other hand, they got their fair share of destruction. Now, as you can see here, you can't see here, but I am at the Dunkin' Donuts. I'm going to go inside and get this wrap, just to get some food in me. I'm going to break my fast a little early today. It's a little after 3. And then did those walking lunges. That's really, sometimes legs aren't as hard as you would think. And here's a myth that I want to settle about leg extensions. People say, oh, if you want to build big legs, you got to squat. If you want to build big fucking back, you got to do barbell rows. If you want to build a big chest, you got to do flat dumbbell bench. Any movement that you do that builds that muscle is going to make that muscle bigger. There's a fallacy that's so irritating to me. It irks me in the highest level, which is that if you do leg extensions, you're just going to get nice toned, lean legs. I'm telling you, if I'm doing the whole fucking stack on the leg extension machine, I'm not going to get nice, cute, fucking little toned legs, okay? I'm not sure if I threw the clip in there. I'm getting used to this filming in public gyms thing, so going into the locker room after a lift and dropping my pants and getting a fucking quad pump on film was awkward because there was somebody else in there. So I tried getting it. I might not post it. I might grab just a picture of it because there's like a really short, it's like 10-second clip, but it's just kind of awkward. But anything that isolates the muscle, doing leg extensions is one of the best ways. It's one of the only movements that, it's like the only movement that you can do that only isolates your quadricep. So you got to think, if you're doing leg press, your calves are using some stabilization, your quads are engaged, your hamstrings, your glutes, your hips are engaged, a little bit of your lower back is kind of getting tight. If you're doing squats, all of your legs getting utilized, including your core. If you're doing, unilateral leg press, if you're doing walking lunges, like there's no movement besides leg extensions that only isolates the quad, and that's it. There's no other muscle work at all with leg or quad extensions. So let's put that myth to rest. Let's put it to rest right now. If you want big legs and you do, let's say, 5 sets or let's say you do 6 sets of leg extensions, and let's say you do 4 sets of leg press, you're gonna build some impressive legs. Now, of course, we can't forget about hamstrings, but as far as the upper part of your front, right, where you're gonna see in a front double bi or a front lat spread, or pose down, you're gonna see those quads. So leg extensions, like today, that's all I did was leg extensions and hamstring curls, and I burned out with some walking lunges. So pretty simple today. These videos will be much more informational, much more valuable in my opinion when I get my mic, because you got to think, when I'm doing these, the farther away from the camera I walk, the less you can hear me. So I'm like trying to show you guys different things. For example, the leg curls. The lying leg curls or seated leg curls, the closer that bar is that you hook your feet onto is to your ankle, the more that it's like a pivot, the more that the pressure is on the lower portion the further down it goes, it's up on the higher portion. The closer you get to your knee, the more of that lower hamstring that's going to be activated. So I know it's kind of hard to explain, but let's say that this is my feet, and where my finger bends is my ankle. The closer you are to the ankle, down like by your heel, you could say, the more that you're going to get that lower portion kind of by your knee. But the higher that goes, so the more that it sits up, almost even on your lower calves, you're going to really engage that lower part, which is like right here. So it can be good to vary that up a little bit even. So you can get some good variety with leg extensions and leg curls. You can do seated leg curls, standing leg curls, lying on your stomach leg curls. You can adjust the variability of how far back it goes depending if you're tall or short. You can do heavy, you can do light, you can do supersets, drop sets, pause reps, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, keep your training mixed up. You don't want the body to become, you don't want your quads and hamstrings to enter into a stalemate. You want them to be bouncing off each other all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna get this video up later today. But again, I apologize, guys. I know these aren't the best videos right now. I'm just trying to get used to filming and get something up there on the channel to get my rhythm down. But yeah, different movements, different workouts, and when I get my mic, I'll finally be able to start really, really focusing on bringing that value, guys. So yeah, that's all I got for you.